thank you for joining us today at Natural Talk with Angel. Today our guest is Judy and I just practiced this, Prokopiak.
Very good.
She is a registered nurse. She's a former diabetes educator and currently a health and lifestyle coach for the masses. She's awesome, folks. Judy, thank you so much for being with us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Awesome. I'm really honored to be on here and to just share a little bit about my journey and about, how I came to becoming a coach. So the story is, my little background is that I was a competitive swimmer growing up, and I had this dream of going to the 1980 Olympics, and that some of those things sort of fell apart, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I got married and then went to nursing school, and I've been a nurse for 25 years. During that time, I did lots of different nursing, pediatric ICU, adult ICU, wound care, and then that led me into becoming a diabetes educator because I was seeing people every week for their wounds and realizing that their blood sugars were out of control. And then I sort of took a little detour and became a head coach of a swim team, and I was also a pastoral care nurse. So I'm one of those multi-potentialite kind of people, but we're doing different things. But it's all been part of my journey. And along that journey, I did about 10 years ago become really sick with autoimmune issues and autoimmune colitis and some autoimmune lung disease. And I had to go on my own healing journey, which led me into becoming a health coach to help other people. And while I was doing the health coaching, I really realized that what needed to happen was I needed to get at people's life and lifestyle. And so that led me to where I am now, which is mostly I do life coaching, but I do it in a way that is like your whole life, your 360-degree life, which is your health and wellness, your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, right? So it's like we don't want to be bankrupt in any area of our life. We want to have a full spectrum life. So that's the nice, clean resume story. And then I'm really going to sort of to give you like the struggle bus that I was on, the story that ran underneath all of that. And you'll see why the story matters, right? So back to being a competitive swimmer. I was on my way to the 1980 Olympics. I was the second fastest 200 freestyler in the country, junior national champion, top 10 in the country. And, but what happened was along the way, I experienced, I met my biological father for the first time at 16. And although he told me, kind of accidentally, although he told me all the things I wanted to hear, he proceeded to never call me. So a lot of rejection and abandonment sort of set in. And I became really depressed. I developed an eating disorder because my coach told me if I lost 5 pounds, I would swim faster. So I kind of stopped eating. And then I had to, then they told me I had to start eating or they were going to put me in, treatment. So then I went into bulimia and binge eating. And basically I spent about 35 years struggling with my weight and emotional eating and, binge eating thoughts. And I just called it disordered eating and disordered thinking. Although I really managed to control the physical symptoms of that. I mean, I still did emotional eating and overeating, but I just had so many thoughts about food all the time, about, trying to control and manage this. So anyway, fast forward, and I'm just spending so many years, and part of the journey was, so I had a shoulder injury and I had all these problems, so I didn't go to the Olympic trials. And my parents said, well, you need to take a college scholarship because we've invested so much money in your swimming. And I was so, like, I did not even want to take a shower. I did not want to even take a shower, much less go swim for college. So self-fulfilling prophecy, I failed out of college. I lost my swimming scholarship. More shame, more unworthiness, more, you know, of all of these thoughts and, you know, depression. And it was really a struggle. And so I just sort of put my head down, and my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer at 39. My father lost his job. My stepfather lost his job. Like, we just had like the perfect storm of things around this time frame. And, you know, I just started burying all my feelings. I just started pushing them down. I started squashing them. And I learned that really from my mom. My mom was a chronic depressive. She had actually attempted suicide a few times in her adult life. And so I didn't learn how to feel my feelings. I didn't, you know, I was just like, I'm going to toughen up. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to be strong, and I'm not going to deal with any of this stuff. But what happens is it festers and it stays with you, and it, you know, and you have to, your feelings, you have to navigate them. And so many of us don't know how to do that. No one teaches us how to feel our feelings or what to do with that. So, you know, I met my husband, and we had these kids, and like, I really had a good life, and we had our struggles, and we had different things, and we had to move around the country for jobs and things. But all the while, and I kept trying to be a good woman doing good work in the world, but I had this shame story about this, you know, I was unworthy, and you know, I was unloved. And even though my mom and my stepfather really loved me, I had made this story about my biological father so powerful, and about how I failed out of college, and how I, you know, I was believing this story so powerfully that it really, no matter what I did in my life, and then I was striving for worthiness and striving, you know, I was like, you know, graduated with honors in my nursing school, and then I went on to become, you know, running heart-lung bypass machines and ICUs, and like I was striving for my own worthiness out there, not knowing that I really needed to, you know, find my worthiness here. So that was, around 2008, I became really, really sick. Like I said, with all these autoimmune diseases, and my mom had died a few years earlier, and I got stuck in grief. And I got stuck in, even though I was, you know, getting up every day, I felt like I was just sleepwalking through life. Like, I just couldn't figure out how I was, you know, functioning in the world. And I just felt like I was never good enough, right? I'm faking it till I make it. But when did I make it? I mean, you know, we had a championship swim team. I had swimmers that were Olympic trials qualifiers and top 10 in the country, you know, the same thing that I had. But I couldn't even own my own value, and, you know, and as a coach, I still didn't, right? So it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I could have been elected president of the United States, and I would have felt like I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Like, right. And everybody's going to find out that I'm really a loser from way back. And so I had so much mental chatter about myself and about thoughts about myself. And I really felt like, you know, I could get there sometimes. Like, I could have these moments where I'm a good woman doing good work in the world. I'm a good mom. And then I would be riding the shame train, like, of just, you know, the shame shit show that goes on. And you're like, no, you're not. Look at you. What's wrong with you? You know, all of that. And then I would be like, no, but look, I'm really trying. And so around the age of 50, I was like, okay, I need to heal myself. So I spent 10 years, well, really, it was 40 to 50. I spent 10 years, you know, learning about health and wellness, and learning about, like, I need to heal myself. And part of the journey of that is that the healthcare system that we have out there is really challenging. And as a nurse and a diabetes educator, I struggled to get the answers. I struggled to get the care. I struggled to get the tests. I could only imagine how challenging it was for, like, a layperson, just going to the doctor, believing everything that they tell you. Because if I didn't fight for you know, answers, and go and learn, and go to the doctors and say, this is what I think is going on, this is the test that I want. Like, if I was not my own advocate, I would not have, you know, I would not have received the health that I do have now. So anyway, I say all that because I really spent a long time healing myself, And then I decided, you know what, let me just go and help others, you know, that are struggling as well. So like I said, as I started out with this diabetes education, and then I started helping pre-diabetics, and I started helping other women that were struggling with binge eating and overeating and emotional eating. And then guess what? We get at the feelings, we get at the stories, we get at the beliefs, we get at all the lies we've been telling ourselves about things. And so that's where I find the most powerful work, is because you can go online and get a diet. You can go to the gym, like you could get a personal trainer. But if you don't feel worthy, if you're still believing that you're, you know, not good enough, or that you have a shame story that you need to, you know, heal, because you can't really show up in the world. You're afraid to speak out. You're afraid to at work. Like, you know, there's so many issues that come up that, you know, if you feel triggered by some story that you haven't healed in your past. And then I really realized, like, we have so many stories. Like, we have money stories, we have stories about our relationships, stories about being an athlete, story about getting divorced, story about being a mom. We have all of these beliefs that we're telling ourselves. And the reality is, the facts are the facts of your life, but what you're believing about them is totally in your control.
That's awesome to think about that. It is important for us to know that how we view ourselves, the thoughts that we have, really are creating maybe worse scenarios than our actual real. And how our thoughts can also help benefit us with our health, or with things that we don't even correlate the two together. You know, I might be thinking over here that, you know, I resonate with a lot of your story. As you were telling it, I was like, wow, yeah, I could, that was me.
And this is what I found, was that working with a lot of women, we're all sort of on this journey. We're all just coming from our own place.
Yeah. And it does make a huge difference in how we think about something. I used to tell my kids, when they were teenagers, you know, they come in and they're so upset about, you know, this friend or that friend or some drama that happened. And I was the queen of anti-drama in the house. I had 3 teenage daughters. I had to draw a line because there could have been a whole lot of drama. But I used to tell them, drop the drama at the door. So
I love that.
Men, and they, you know, this one this one that, and I'd say, whoa, wait a minute. You can't change your circumstances. You can't change how somebody else is going to react, or what they're going to say to you, or what they're going to do, for that matter. But you can choose how you choose to see that, or how you choose to view it. You can allow this to come home and eat you alive and just, or you can say, you know what, that's their problem.
Yeah.
And drop it. I say, because I can guarantee you, they are not at home worried about what they said to you.
Right.
You're the one come home wearing all of this baggage, and it is true. And you know, I would say that to them about drama, but I never realized how important that was for our bodies, for our health, for the stress that we carry, and the stress that we could cause our bodies just in our thinking.
Absolutely.
You know, how many times have we gotten so stressed out over a situation that we were anticipating what was going to happen, not knowing really what the outcome would be, but now you're all stressed and your stomach's in a knot, you've got a headache, you've got, you know, all these physical attributes and we still don't put the two together how they work.
Right? I love that. That is so true. I'm always saying, like, we have this amazing mind and this imagination, and we usually use it just to terrorize ourselves with the things that are never going to happen.
Right?
Right? And we live in terror for a whole week about something, and then, like, you have that conversation with the person and you're like, oh, like, they haven't been upset about this at all. Like, I've created this whole story in my head about it. But I love how you really are bringing it full circle into your physical an emotional well-being, because I really believe that like that's what happened to me when I got really sick, was that I wasn't healing this shame story. And here I was, the head coach of a swim team, and I had this terrible story about how I failed out of college and lost my scholarship. And part of the story was that, well, I should have gone for the next Olympics, like, right? I knew what to do. Like, why didn't I get my shit together and do it, right? And so then that was the little belief that I had my whole life. Like, I don't follow through, or I don't, I know, I get to this certain point and then I quit on myself. Like, right? So it was so fascinating to see that. But again, back to the part about your physical well-being, is that when you are not giving yourself any self-compassion or self-love, or even, and you're just telling yourself over and over about how, whatever the story is for you, about how I shoulda, woulda, coulda, or why did I do that, or what's wrong with me, or I know better, and I'm still, like, I'm a nurse and a diabetes educator, and I still overeat. Like, what's wrong with me, right? And I think we all can just get stuck in that. And then you're just feeding all of these emotions that are then, they have to manifest somewhere. They have to come out. So unless you learn to meditate and you learn to journal and you learn to do all these things that can help you express your feelings and understand your feelings. I think we spend so much time squashing the feelings down, that like the feelings won't kill you. It's all the stuff we're trying to do to numb out from the feelings, the drinking, the overeating, the numbing out with Netflix, or some people are like over exercising. Like, I mean, people are doing all kinds, shopping, whatever it is. Like, people are doing all kinds of things to not feel their feelings. Mm-hmm. But the feelings don't kill you. It's this other life that is killing us.
Yeah, and they do. The way you're presenting it is, it becomes our story, our belief. It gets into the subconscious mind, which is really what runs us. Yeah. Our conscious mind is only a small minute of everything that's really going on. So if you ever think about it, you get into your car and you've driven somewhere that you drive every day, to work or something, and you get there and you're like, well, I don't even remember half of this drive. That's because your subconscious knows where to take you.
Absolutely. And
it's so autopilot.
Yep. So if that's on auto, because your brain just wants to be efficient. Like, right. It does not want to learn how to drive every day. It doesn't want to do that. Like, okay, we're going to figure this out, and we're going to put it in, you're right, in the subconscious. And all of the other habits in our life too are coming from these beliefs and these stories and these, we babies were not born thinking they were fat, or thinking they were ugly, or thinking that they couldn't make money, or that they weren't good at math, or any, right? Or that they were unworthy.
No, as a matter of fact, I have a 8-month-old granddaughter right now, and let me tell you what, she does not have any qualms about, I need to be the center of attention. You need to look at me. I am cute and adorable, aren't I? You need to feed me now. She has no qualms in asking for what she wants, or rather demanding sometimes what she wants. So there's no belief system there for her that she shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And I was just having this conversation with my husband the other day. I told him, I said, I realize now that infants, when they get to that 1 to 2 year old stage, from the newborn to about a year old, they're given everything they want. Everything is done for them. We're quite efficient because we don't want to hear the siren go off, right? But when they get to that age, that's when they're being told no. That's when they're being told the world does not revolve around you, in essence. Yeah. And so then you get the terrible twos, because now they're throwing a fit thinking, this is what I did before. I threw this fit and so my fit's just got to get bigger now.
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah. I really love that you're able to sort of see this play out, now that you have awareness, like, right, I don't have any grandchildren, but I do, have friends with children and things, but it's like, now that we have this awareness that we didn't have as a parent or whatever, We just didn't have for ourselves because, you know, we had some awareness, but we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right.
And when you can really see like the words that are coming out of your mouth, or, you know, like how, like, you're like, oh, wait a minute, like I want to pull that back in, or, you know, we still need them to grow and evolve and become, but it's really interesting how, you know, how do you navigate that, right? Of helping them learn rules and structure and function, and yet still have the sense of
Self-worth.
self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But
That's
yeah.
challenging, especially because of our subconscious, you know, has put in there, no, don't, that's bad. That's, you know, so those are those key things that are just gonna keep coming out, you know, until we change that way of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you're like 3 or 5, like 3 years old and 5 years old, I mean, you've been told no like 60,000 times. You already have some stories going on about who, you know, how this adult behaves and how these people are, and how you have to share your things at school. And yeah, one of the most interesting things that I just recently kind of became aware of was how we tell little kids, it's like, well, you need to share, and you need to be nice. You don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, right? Yet we now know as adults that, like you even said it to your daughters, like, right, that we do not cause other people's feelings. Like, they are responsible for their feelings and how they're reacting or responding to anything that we say. But here we are telling kids, like, you need to be nice. Like, even if they don't like that person, now it's like, you need to be nice. You don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. But honestly, like, that, you want to be kind, you know, you don't want to be mean to people. But at the same time, it's like, that is like really a lie. Like, you're not responsible for their feelings. Right. And so now you have a child that grows up thinking, wow, everything that I do, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. I don't want to hurt that person's feelings. And then as women, we're people pleasers, and then we're nurturers. And so we're running our whole life going, wow, I don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings. So I got to shape shift, and I gotta be whoever you want me to be and whoever you want me to be. And then you're like, I don't even know who I am. I'm 50 or whatever, you know, and you're like, I don't know who I am anymore. Right? So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I really, we digressed a little bit, but it's all still the same thing. Like, whatever you're thinking is controlling and you don't even know what you're thinking. You know, most of the time you're not even aware. Right. Yeah, one of the things that I do with my clients is really, I just start with, like, notice what you're noticing. Like, what are you saying to yourself? Like, be an observer of your brain. Like, if we could put a little video camera in there and, like, what are you saying? What are you thinking? Like, what's happening? You know, especially if you get angry or frustrated or sad or depressed or lonely or whatever. Whatever you're feeling, it's coming from a thought. Right? And we don't even know, like, the feelings come and we don't know that there's a thought attached to it, because we thought that thought so many times that, like, and that's why I was like, why do I feel bad and sad and mad? Like, I don't even know why I'm feeling this. I called that welcome to menopause, but. Oh yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Right? And then guess what happens? Then we put shame and suffering on top of that, because we're like, I have a good life. I have people that love me. I have, like, and then you're like, why do I feel like this? Like, I shouldn't feel like this, right? So then you're like, put suffering on top of suffering, and you're like, then you shame yourself trying to, you know, feel better, or trying to, I don't know what we think that's going to work, because that never works, right? Shaming, like shaming your body, like, I'm going to hate you into being better. Right. I don't think it is like kids. You can't hate them into doing what you want them to do. So I don't think our body responds that well anyway. But then come back to lifestyle. So lifestyle is the key to many of our diseases as well. It's not just about diet. It's about, you know, the thought process behind the diet, behind what's making us want to eat bad, or, you know, whatever. The whole
diet and exercise and things like that, those are physical things that we can do. But if we don't get to that lifestyle change, changing our thought process, then you're always going to have a battle with
Correct.
the same issues that are causing most of our underlying diseases. We just
Absolutely. Totally, because like I said in my story, I was constantly on a diet, or, you know, even though had this emotional eating, of course, like, right, I was going to try to always, if I just lose the weight, I'll be happy. If I just, you know, do this, I'll be happy. If I, you know, get on this other diet. And so, you know, I was on the diet roller coaster like everybody. But I was doing it for all the wrong reasons, like, right? I wasn't doing it because I loved myself and I wanted to, you know, take care of my body, even though, like, I would tell myself that. That wasn't my belief. My belief was somewhere along the lines of, you know, you need to look thin in order to be happy. You need to be, you know what I mean? Like, right? Or you know, and again, like, we all know that, you know, being overweight or whatever is definitely impacting our well-being long-term, right? You know, we definitely, but that's, like we talked about before, that's not enough. This fear of avoiding disease, you know, is not enough to, you know, people know about smoking and they're still smoking, like, right? So that it has to do with really, like, the big why. Why do you want to change? Why do you want to be healthy? Like, health for the sake of health. And I think that was it. Like, we all just felt like we needed to be on a diet. Like, like, it was just a mindset. Like, if you're not on a diet, then there's something wrong with you. You know, it was sort of like, you know, it was just weird. And I remember thinking, like, who are those women that just eat normal? Like, they're lying. Like, how can they, like, I just couldn't believe that about people. But I really think that, you know, with a life from a big enough why to pull you forward. And, you know, one of the things I do is, and you probably know, you'd probably do this too, is that you have to have a vision. You have to have, like, why do I want to be healthy? Like, oh, I'd like to go paddleboarding. I want to play with my grandchildren. I want to travel around, you know, and I want to be able to, and because sometimes it's just not enough, I mean, to say, oh, I don't want to be in pain. Like, right, because when you say I don't want to be in pain, what kind of image do you get in your mind? Like, you're
pain.
right, pain, right? Your brain is like, I don't know, pain. Like, right? It's like saying, okay, you say, I want to avoid sugar. Okay, I tell you, don't eat donuts, don't eat cookies, don't eat cake, don't eat. All you see are cookies and cakes and donuts, like, in your mind, because
Right.
our brain is visual, right? And so this is really why things like vision boards and manifestation and all of these things really do work, is because our brain sees in pictures. And, you know, some people are a little more wordy, but definitely pictures. Because if I tell you, you know, to picture your front door, you're not going to see my front door, you're going to see your front door. And you're not going to see the word door, you're going to see a door. And so having this vision of why you want to be healthy helps you propel yourself when you don't feel like going to the gym and you don't really feel like it, because we're never going to feel like doing things we don't want to. Like, our brain's going to be like, no, I don't feel like doing that, until it becomes a thing that we do all the time, right? Like, we as a parent, we had to tell our kids, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth. You know, and then as an adult, you're like, wow, I really want to keep my teeth. I guess I'll brush my teeth. Like, right? So it started as a habit. Like, they had no vested interest in brushing their teeth, unless they got a bunch of cavities and they didn't like going to the dentist, and, you know, maybe they were inspired to brush their teeth. But then it becomes a lifestyle, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. But we do have to have this sort of vested interest in why. And I think we keep coming from fear and pain and this whole thing, oh, I don't want to be fat, and I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to. I saw it a lot with diabetics, you know, they still, like, they know the consequences, you know, they know that people get amputations, or they know, or they, you know, they maybe think it's not going to happen to them. But it's people smoking again, right? They know that there is nobody on this planet that doesn't know smoking causes cancer. And yet people are still smoking, right? Because they don't see and then they also have a belief, smoking relaxes me. Smoking makes me, like, right? Smoking relieves my stress. Smoking, I smoke with my friends or whatever. So that's the belief, right? As long as your belief is, I'm addicted to sugar, or smoking relaxes me, or I need caffeine. Like, you're never going to be able to change that habit. Like, you're always going to be in resistance, right?
Yes, absolutely. You reminded me of Tony Robbins. I had this is back in the day when everything was on cassette.
On a VCR, the CDs or cassette tapes, yeah.
On the cassette tapes, and one of the
I had that too.
one of the things that he had said on there was like, okay, so like if you want to not eat cake, then you need to like create in your mind that is poison. So somehow you need to create pain with the things that you want to get rid of.
Right.
Pleasure with the things that you want, even if they're the opposite. Even if the cake tastes good and the exercise hurts, you have to say the exercise feels great and the cake, is poison. So it's the same way, I think, with just about everything in our life. You got to kind of do the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Telling yourself that I want this, I'm good, I really want to go to the gym, I want to be strong, I want to be, like, your brain is going to believe whatever you tell it. The problem is we're telling it all the wrong things unless we get control of it,
Right.
And exactly, like, people always say to me, wow, don't you miss gluten or what, a pizza, whatever, and I'm like, nope, because when I think of pizza, I think of pain. Like, 10 years I haven't eaten it, and I'm like, nope, I have no desire, for pizza. And that goes back to that whole kind of piece too, is that the desire is so high for cake, and yet, and then we're trying to say, no, I don't want cake. And then you're like, wow, this is so painful, like up here, right? But what happens is if we lower the desire by saying cake is poison, cake makes me sick, cake, whatever, then the desire is down and you don't need so much effort, because you're like, I don't have any desire for that. Like, I walk in the store, I have no desire where the cigarettes are. I don't know how much they cost. I've never smoked. Like, I've never drank beer. I just don't like beer. And now I like wine or whatever. But like, I'm like, I don't even know, like, what beer do you want, honey? Like, I don't know. And I don't even know where the cigarettes are or anything. Like, right, it's not in your awareness. And that's kind of how things have to be, a little more neutral. But we don't think about lowering the desire because we keep having these beliefs about, I'm addicted to sugar. When I work with clients and they're like, I'm addicted to sugar and I have to have ice cream at night, I have to have something sweet at night. You are going to be on the struggle bus forever. You've got to change that story.
Exactly. That sugar needs to become arsenic in your mind.
Yes, exactly.
Because if I knew a cake was sitting there, no matter how beautiful and scrumptious it looked, if I knew it was full of arsenic, I'm not going to eat it. It's not going to be desirable to me because I'm thinking, I'm going to die if I eat.
Yeah.
And technically, it may take
you really are,
but you really are. Exactly.
You got all that sugar. Now, that's not saying you can't, and you can't just have you go to a wedding and have some cake or something like that. Yeah. But the challenge comes is that people still have these beliefs and these stories, and it goes with everything in your life. And this is really how my work came to be what it is now, where I really, if you want to come to me for binge eating or emotional eating, or you're having problems with your challenges with your diabetes, or you're having relationship issues, or you want to change careers, but now you have some stories going on that is keeping you from getting there, right? And it's really a matter of, for example, let's say you had an old boyfriend and you kept thinking about him, or he broke up with you, or whatever, or then it was sort of like you had this boyfriend, but then you sort of were, let's just say, well, we're just going to have sex on Tuesday. Like, you can relate this to cake. Like, I'm just going to eat cake on Tuesday, so you're like, you're married to this other guy, but then you're like, I'm just going to go have sex on Tuesday with this guy. Like, right? And you're just like, well, that makes no sense. Like, right? You're committed over here. Right. But because we still have this desire to go be with this guy, like, right. It's kind of a weird analogy, but I was just talking about in general, it doesn't even matter, whatever it is. So then you have to lower the desire to go be with this guy. Like same thing with the cake. You can't just be like, well, I'm going to eat healthy, but I'm going to eat cake on Tuesdays, you know? And so then you're going to be thinking about the cake all week, right?
Yeah.
Right? You're not going
to make you slip up before Tuesday.
Yes, right? Because then now you're like texting the guy and you're thinking about the guy and like whatever. I use this when I'm helping people with their relationships. Maybe they got divorced or something. But then I say, look, it only is going to take one thought to change all of this. If you find out that that guy was a child molester, are you going to have any desire to be with him? Probably not. So guess what? Your desire just went.
Right.
And so now, like, right? Same thing with the cake, like, right? When you say it's poison or you say it's toxic or you say, you know what, sugar feeds cancer, like I believe that. I don't really want to eat sugar all day long. Like sugar makes me crazy, sugar makes me moody, sugar makes me like whatever your story. So one of the tips I can just give anybody that's watching this is whatever you're trying to change in your life as far as a lifestyle, like write down all of your thoughts about that. Like, right? If it's sugar, you say, I'm trying to quit sugar. Okay, trying to give up sugar. All your thoughts about sugar. Sugar is delicious. I love cupcakes. I love cookies. I love baking. Sugar, I'm addicted to sugar. Like whatever your thoughts are, right? And then on the other side, you're going to write down what are the thoughts that you need to have about sugar in order to help you move forward. Sugar is toxic. Sugar is poison. Sugar feeds cancer. Sugar makes me have belly fat. Sugar, you know, makes me crave more sugar. Like, right? And you can say, I won't have sugar cravings. I won't have, like, my weight will be better. My mood will be better. Like, right? So when you have those two things, then you can start seeing, these are the thoughts I have. These are the thoughts I want to have. And every time you have one of these thoughts, you say, no, I'm going to believe this. Like, right, because you can take the one thought and just put an opposite thought there.
Right.
Like, right, what is the thought, what is the counter thought that I need to have? Like, right, I'm addicted to sugar. I have no desire for sugar. Like, right, sugar is delicious. Sugar tastes good, but feeling good is my priority. Like, right, you can put another belief there.
Right.
And it's really powerful because at least you're aware of the thoughts you're having about sugar or cigarettes or gluten or dairy or exercise or whatever. Doesn't even matter. Whatever your thoughts are, those are going to create your results. Like, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a first tip to just get aware of what's happening.
Well, Judy, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. It's very enlightening, and I think that a lot of people are going to get a lot out of it as well. Why don't you go ahead and tell people how they can contact you if they'd be interested in maybe getting with you for your coaching?
Sure, absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook, either my personal page, which is Judy Prokopiak, or I have Coach Judy Prokopiak, a Facebook business page. My website is judyprokopiak.com. That's Prokopiak.
I will put that in the notes too.
And I always offer like a free, discovery conversation to just see, maybe I can just help you figure out where you're at, what do you want, why do you want it, and how are you going to get there? So whether you decide to work with me or not, I would just love to have a conversation with you. I also have this amazing 2-hour shift your story session. I guess it's a session. It's just a 2-hour session, but it's really amazing because it helps you look at your stories, all the stories of your life, as far, not all the stories, but the stories about where you were proud of yourself, stories about where you were successful, stories about where you overcame challenges, and then we look at maybe this one story that is giving you some trouble about shame or unworthiness or failure or something. There's a story there that's holding you back, but I take you through this beautiful experience with lots of love and compassion, and I help you see your story in a brand new way that you can't see. I like put new glasses on for you, and then you're forever changed about like we talked about before, your facts of your life are what they are. What you're believing about them can totally be changed, but you don't know how to do that. So that's one of the things that I do. And so right now I offer that for $111, which is kind of crazy, but I just love I love offering that. I used to only keep it in my coaching packages, but I found it to be so powerful that I pulled it out and I just do it by itself. So you can talk to me if you want to learn more about that, or you can go ahead and book it right on my website.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you, Angel. I love the work that you're doing. I love how you are really trying to change people's health and well-being by bringing in so many different people and practitioners to kind of say, how do we move forward? How do we become the best version of ourselves? And so I really honor you for, doing that work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That is my heart's desire, to help people to realize that there are alternatives out there to medications, alternatives to, our mundane lives, so to speak, so that we can all live happy, healthier lives, more fulfilled lives.
Absolutely.
Thank you
thanks so much.
And thank y'all for being with us today as well. And we will see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.